The crash in the forest. The night was cold, and the sky above Elwood was clear. Stars filled the darkness like tiny lights, peaceful and still. In a small wooden house near the forest, a boy named Alex Carter sat by his window. He wasn't like other boys in town. While others played games or scrolled their phones, Alex loved watching the sky. He believed something was out there, something waiting to be found. It was just past midnight when it happened. A sudden flash lit up the sky, bright, blue and fast. It cut across the stars like a sword of fire. The ground shook slightly, and a loud boom followed, echoing through the quiet trees. Birds flew up in panic. Dogs barked in the distance. Alex jumped to his feet, heart pounding. He had never seen anything like it. He grabbed his flashlight, a jacket, and quietly slipped out the back door. His parents were asleep, and he didn't want to wake them. The air outside was colder than before. He moved quickly, feet crunching leaves as he made his way into the forest behind his house. The trees were tall and silent, but ahead something glowed between them. As he got closer, the smell of burned metal and ozone filled the air. Smoke rose through the trees like a ghost. Branches were broken. The ground looked like something had crashed hard, leaving a deep scar in the earth. And in the center of it all lay something strange. At first Alex thought it was just a piece of a ship, smooth, silver, and curved. But then it moved. A figure, small and shaking, pulled itself from the wreck. It was a girl, at least. She looked like one. Her skin was pale silver, her hair white and glowing softly in the dark. Her eyes were large, almost too large for her face, shining like moons. She was hurt, bleeding from a cut on her shoulder. Her breathing was shallow. Alex froze. She looked at him not with fear, but with deep sadness, like she had already lost everything. Her lips moved, and a voice echoed in his mind more than in his ears. "If I bond with you, will you let me in?" Alex didn't know what she meant. His brain wanted to run, to scream, to call someone. But something inside him, something deep and quiet, told him to stay. He took a step closer. The girl reached out with a trembling hand. A soft blue light flickered between her fingers, as if asking for something more than help. Alex whispered, "Yes." In that moment, everything changed. The light from her hand touched his chest. It wasn't hot, it wasn't painful, but it felt real, like something alive was entering him. His vision blurred for a second. His heartbeat sped up, then slowed, then returned to normal. The girl fell forward, and he caught her. She was warm, not like metal, not like a machine. She was alive. He looked around, unsure what to do next. But one thing was clear. He couldn't leave her here. Alex carried her carefully, silently through the woods, back to the shed behind his house. It was old, dusty, full of tools and boxes. But it had a door. It had a roof. It was enough. For now, he laid her on a soft pile of blankets and sat beside her, shaken. He didn't sleep that night. Outside, the forest was quiet again. But above, in the far sky, a dark shape moved silently, not a star, not a cloud watching. Asterisk, the morning light touched the edges of the trees. But the world still felt dark to Alex. He sat on the cold floor of the shed, staring at the strange girl he had carried through the woods. She hadn't moved all night. Her silver skin glowed softly now, like moonlight trapped under her skin. Her breathing was slow, steady. Alex didn't sleep. He didn't blink much either. He kept asking himself the same question over and over. What did I just say yes to? Girl stirred. Her eyes opened wide, shining, almost too human now. She looked at him, but not like strangers look at each other. Her gaze felt deep, like she could see everything inside him. "Where am I?" she asked, her voice quiet, uncertain. "My shed," Alex replied. "Behind my house, you crashed in the forest. Do you remember?" She nodded slowly, then winced in pain. Her hand went to the wound on her shoulder. "I remember the fire, the fall. I remember you." She looked at him again. "And the bond," Alex swallowed. "What is the bond?" She closed her eyes, as if the answer was too big to explain. "It connects minds. It shares thoughts, feelings, It was the only way to stay alive. I needed someone willing. She paused. Said yes. He nodded slowly. But I didn't know what it meant. She opened her eyes again. Neither did I. A silence passed between them, not awkward, not empty, just full of unspoken things. Then it started. A sharp ringing in Alex's head. Loud, sudden, like a bell cracking through his mind. He grabbed his head and fell to his knees. Flashes. Images. Sounds. Not his own. A dark sky filled with strange stars. A giant ship made of bone and shadow. A world burning under a purple sun. A voice saying, "They are coming." The pain stopped as fast as it began. Alex looked up, eyes wide with fear. What was that? She was sitting now, hands glowing faintly. A part of me entered your mind. It's beginning. Alex backed away. Beginning what? Bond is waking up. It will show you pieces of me, just like I will feel parts of you. He stared at her. Wait, you can feel me? It's like what I think, what I feel. She nodded. Not everything, but the stronger it grows, the less we can hide. Alex's thoughts raced. This wasn't just alien contact. This wasn't science fiction anymore. This was real, and it was inside him. She tried to stand, but her legs shook. He caught her again. You're still hurt. I'll heal faster with the bond, she whispered. He helped her sit back on the blankets. You never told me your name, Alex said. She looked at him for a moment. Lyra. Alex smiled a little. I'm Alex. Alex, she repeated, like she was learning the sound. That name, it feels warm. Before he could respond, a sudden buzz filled the shed his phone. He checked it. Text from his friend Mark. Dude, did you hear? Something crashed in the forest last night. The army's here now. Alex's heart skipped. Lyra stood, suddenly alert. They're close, she said. Who? The military. She shook her head. It's not just them. She stepped to the window, staring at the trees. They will look for me. They always do. Whose day? Alex asked. She turned to him. The ones who destroyed my world. The ones who hunt me across the stars. They're called the Null. Outside in the quiet forest, a strange clicking sound echoed through the trees. Faint, sharp, and not human. Alex's blood ran cold. He stepped beside her. If they're coming, we need to hide you better. Lyra looked at him and the first time, smiled, not with joy, but with trust. You already did more than anyone ever has. He nodded. Then let's not stop now. As the wind moved the trees and strange sounds grew closer, Alex reached for the shed door, and for the first time in his life, he wasn't just running toward danger, he was standing between Earth and something far beyond it, and he wasn't alone anymore. It didn't bark. It didn't growl. Just stopped mid-step and stared into the forest. Alex's dog, Bruno, never acted like this. He had followed Alex into the woods that morning, tail wagging like always. But now, just beyond the shed, Bruno stood frozen, ears up, body tense, growl caught in his throat, never leaving. Bruno, Alex whispered. The dog didn't move. Then slowly, he backed away, one paw at a time, eyes still locked on the trees. Something was out there. Alex felt it too. Strange cold ran down his spine. Not wind, not weather, something alive, something watching. He stepped back into the shed. Lyra. She was already standing. Pale light flowed from her hands again. Her voice was calm, but her eyes were scared. They're here, she said. Alex didn't ask who. He already knew, 10 miles away on the other side of town. Black trucks rolled down the highway with no headlights. Men in gray uniforms stepped out. No name tags, no flags, just earpieces, metal briefcases, and small blinking screens. A quiet man in a long coat led them. His eyes were sharp. Cold. Heat signature confirmed, he said. Crash site still active. One of the men looked. Up, sir. There's movement in the forest. The man didn't respond. He just turned his head, slowly, toward the trees, and smiled. Back in the shed, Lyra leaned against the wall. Her glow was fading. The null, she said, don't always. Come as ships. They send ... scouts, drones, shadows. Alex stared at her. Can they track the bond? They don't need to. They track me. A noise cut through the air, soft, like metal scraping over wood. Alex turned to the window. At first, he saw nothing. It's just trees. But then one tree moved. It shifted, stepped, unfolded. No, not a tree. A figure. Tall, thin, covered in bark-like armor. No eyes, no face. Just a long, sharp line where a mouth should be, and it was walking toward them. Alex stepped back. Lyra, what is that? Of them, she said, voice tight, but not alive. A hunter shell, a body built to follow and kill. The creature moved fast. Alex slammed the shed door. How do we stop it? We don't, Lyra said. We run. They burst out the back, into the tall grass. Lyra stumbled, still weak. Alex held her arm, pulling her along. Behind them, the shed exploded, wooden pieces flying into the air like shrapnel. Bruno barked once, then took off toward the house. Alex ran with Lyra through the trees, heart pounding. The hunter shell followed. No footsteps, no sound, just motion, smooth and cruel. Branches snapped, shadow passed over them, and then dashed silence. Too silent. Alex looked around. Where did it go? Lyra didn't answer. She looked up. The hunter was above them, crawling along the trees like an insect metal claws. Digging into the bark, it dropped, but before it landed, Alex raised his hand without thinking, and it stopped mid-dash air, frozen, held in place by nothing. Lyra stared. At him, wide-eyed? You froze at how? Alex's hand shook. I didn't mean to. It just happened. The hunter began to move again, breaking the invisible grip. They ran. They reached the edge of the forest behind Alex's house. He pushed Lyra behind the fence, both of them breathing hard, but the hunter was gone. Too quiet again. Alex turned. Slowly, expecting it behind him, but it wasn't. Instead, a voice came from inside his head. You bonded with her. That makes you ours. Alex screamed, not out loud, but in his mind, shaking the voice out. Lyra grabbed his arm. They're testing you. They're not here to kill, not yet. Then why send that thing? He asked. To see what you can do, and now, ... they've seen. From a hill nearby, a dark ship hovered, no sound, no light. Just shadows, shifting and watching. Inside, a figure sat on a throne of cold steel. Not human, not machine, something in dash between. It watched a screen showing Alex. Panting in the grass, a mechanical voice whispered, the spark has awakened. Prepare for contact. Back in the yard, Alex helped Lyra to her feet. His hand still shook. What's happening to me? He asked. Lyra looked at him, not with fear, but with something else. Hope you're changing, she said. The bond is waking up something inside you. He stared at her. And what if I don't want it? She touched his hand. Then you should not have said yes. Asterisk, the mirror shattered, but he never touched it. Alex stood in his bathroom staring. At his reflection, cracks spread from the center of the glass, like spider legs, sharp, messy, silent. He hadn't screamed. He hadn't punched. He had just... felt something, and the mirror broke. Not a dream, not a mistake. The bond was changing him. Outside, the town of Elwood moved like nothing had happened. People drank coffee, kids walked to school, radios played, morning shows. No one knew that something alien had already touched their world. But inside Alex's mind, nothing was normal anymore. He sat across from Lyra in the shed, or what was left of it. They had cleaned it up, rebuilt some parts, but it still smelled like fire and fear. She watched him carefully. You're not just connected to me, she said. You're becoming something more. Alex looked at his hands. They felt heavier. Now, warmer. Almost like they belonged to someone else. I made the wind stop, he whispered. I made a branch fall without touching it, and the mirror. You're channeling energy through thought, Lyra said, but not mine. Yours. Looked at her, confused. I thought the bond gave me power. She said it only opened you. Power was always there. Alex froze. Then why me? Lyra lowered her eyes. Because humans aren't like us. Flashback Lyra's memory. A tall, glowing city on a red world. Her people, quiet, wise, afraid to feel. Every decision based on logic. Cold minds. Peaceful hearts, but no chaos, no passion. Until the null came. Until their own creations turned against them. She had escaped. But not because she was stronger, because she was curious. She felt more than the others. It made her weak, and it made her free. And now she had bonded with a species ruled by emotion back in the present. Lyra walked slowly around Alex. You think anger is weakness, she said, but you stopped a hunter with pure fear. You bent a branch by wanting it to fall. That's not science, that's human. Alex chuckled nervously. That doesn't sound like a compliment. It is, she said. You feel more in one moment than my people do in a lifetime. Alex stood. So I'm a weapon. Is that what they think I am? No, Lyra said. You're something worse. He looked at her. She smiled faintly. You're proof. At that moment, the door creaked. Bruno barked once outside. Alex peeked out. His friend Mark stood there, holding his bike. Dude, you've been ghosting all day. Everything okay? Alex froze. He couldn't let Mark see Lyra. Couldn't explain the truth, but Lyra stepped forward. He's safe. Mark blinked. Whoa. She yours? Alex nodded slowly. Kind of. Mark leaned in, smirking. She looks different. Lyra tilted her head. So do you. Back inside, Lyra pulled Alex aside. You can't keep hiding this forever. I know, he said, but I don't know what to tell them. She looked into his eyes. Then tell them the truth. Tell them the world is about to change. Alex sat again, staring at the wall. I don't want this, he whispered. Lyra sat beside him. No one ever wants power till they see what silence brings. He looked at her. What do they want from me? She leaned closer. The Null don't fear weapons. They fear the one thing they can't control. He asked, what's that? She whispered, choice, far above. In orbit, the Null ship opened like a black flower. Silent. Cold. Inside, screens displayed Alex's face. The commander masked. In metal and wires, watched him closely. He learns fast. One drone said, but not fast enough. Another replied. The commander raised a hand. Begin phase 2. Send the mimic. Back in Elwood, night began to fall again. Alex stood outside. Feeling the breeze shift with his breath, he closed his eyes. In his mind, he felt a heartbeat. Not just his. Lyra's too. Their bond glowed between them like a soft thread. I don't know how to be strong, he said. Lyra replied, you already are. As the stars returned above, a shadow moved across the sky faster than any plane. Alex didn't see it, but Lyra did, and this time she didn't smile. The mimic wore Alex's face. Same eyes, same voice, same confused stare. But it wasn't him. It stood in the middle of the street at 3 a.m. Barefoot, breathing slow, whispering only one word again and again, let me in. The streetlight above flickered, then went out. Across the road, the real Alex stood frozen. He wasn't dreaming. He wasn't hallucinating. Lyra stood beside him, eyes locked on the figure. That's not you, she said. That's what they send before the storm. Alex whispered. Why does it look like me? Because they want you to hesitate. It was working. The night around them was too still. No wind, no sound, no dogs barking. Even the air felt like it was holding its breath. Alex took a step forward. The mimic mirrored him, step for step. Same rhythm, same speed. It's like a twisted reflection. But its eyes, They didn't blink. They didn't shine. They were hollow. "What do you want?" Alex called out. The mimic tilted its head. Then its voice cracked, like broken radio signals stacked on top of each other. To end the weakness. Without warning, the mimic moved faster than human. It dashed toward Alex. Arms slicing the air, Lyra pushed him aside just in time. The mimic hit the ground where he stood. Pavement cracked under its fist. Alex rolled back onto his feet, breath sharp. His chest burned like something inside wanted out. He raised his hand and the wind answered. A blast of air hit the mimic. Throwing it back 10 feet, Alex blinked. "Did I do that?" Lyra nodded, serious. "You're not just reacting anymore. You're controlling." The mimic stood, unfazed. Its skin glitching, face flickering between Alex's and something far worse. A null face. Sharp teeth, no nose. No emotion, just design built to destroy. The fight began. Alex threw a punch. The mimic dodged it easily, spinning around him like smoke. Lyra fired a bolt of blue energy. The mimic absorbed it through its hand. Alex tried to run. The mimic appeared in front of him. No matter what he did, it was faster, smarter. "Why can't I beat it?" Alex shouted, "Because you're still thinking like a human." Lyra yelled. The mimic lunged, and this time, it pinned Alex down. Its hands wrapped around his neck. Alex's vision blurred. Lyra screamed his name, blasting the mimic with everything. She had, but it didn't move. Alex reached up, grabbing its wrist, and for one moment, he stopped being afraid. The mimic twitched. Alex's hands glowed white. The mimic screamed. The first sound it had made, its body began to crack. Light leaking from inside, Alex shouted, "Not in fear and rage, you're not me!" And the mimic exploded into dust. Silence ash fell around them like snow. Alex dropped to his knees, shaking, his skin still glowing. Lyra ran to him. "Are you hurt?"
"No,"
he said softly. "Just awake." Far above, inside the null ship, the commander watched the screen fade to static. He's adapting too quickly. One drone said. The commander leaned forward. "Then we'll stop testing." "What now?" Commander replied. "Now we invade, back on Earth." Alex looked at his hands. They weren't his anymore. He wasn't just a boy now, not even just human. He had fought a version of himself, and won. But deep down, a darker thought whispered in his mind. What if I lose? To the real me, Lyra placed a hand on his shoulder. "You're not alone," she said. But even she knew. The real war hadn't started yet. Asterisk, he was drowning, but not in water, in stars. Alex stood in space. No suit, no air, yet he could breathe. Stars surrounded him, close enough to touch. One burned red. One blinked like an eye. One whispered his name. He looked down and saw a planet on fire. Not Earth, but it felt like home. A voice echoed through the void. "You were made, not born." Alex woke with a gasp, chest rising fast, sweat cold on his neck. It was still night. The shed was dark. Lyra sat beside him, her back to the wall. Eyes half closed but alert. "I saw something," Alex whispered. She didn't turn. "I know." "You were there," he said. "But not you. And me. But older. Or someone else I don't understand." Lyra finally looked at him. "It's time you do." She stood, walked to the corner of the shed, and reached into a metal box Alex hadn't noticed before. From inside, she pulled a small sphere, glowing with soft red lines. Like veins, she held it out. "This is a memory core," she said. "My people used them to store ... truth." Before the null erased it, Alex hesitated. "Will it hurt? Only if you're not ready to know who you are?" He touched the sphere, and the world changed. He wasn't in the shed anymore. He was standing in a white hall, tall ceilings. Walls made of smooth light. Alien symbols danced in the air. Like figures passed by. Lyra's people tall, silver-skinned, emotionless. But then, another figure appeared, a human. Alex's eyes widened. The man looked exactly like him. Older, stronger, wearing armor that pulsed like a living thing, and beside him, Lyra. They were speaking to a council. Voices filled the space. The spark must be hidden. The Null are learning. If they bond with one like him, send him far, to a planet they've forgotten. Earth. They were talking about Earth. Alex screamed. He fell backward, crashing out of the vision. The sphere rolled away. Lyra caught him as he struggled to breathe. "You knew," he said. "All along." She nodded. "I wasn't just some random boy," Alex whispered. "I was placed here, hidden, because you're not ordinary," she said. "You're the last living spark, the final being who can bond across species." "We cannot." He shook his head. "I'm just a kid." "No," she replied. "You're a weapon, ... built from hope." Alex stood, still shaking. His world had cracked in half. "You came here for me," he said. "This whole time, it wasn't just about escaping the Null." "No," Lyra said. "It was about finding the only one who could stop them." He laughed, once bitter, sharp. "So, I was never free. I was part of someone's plan." She stepped closer. "You always had a choice, but now that you know the truth, you have to choose faster." Suddenly, the shed roof shook. Dust fell. A low hum filled the air. Alex stepped outside and saw the sky rip open. A giant crack of light split the clouds. Through it, dark shapes fell, not ships, towers, floating. Black towers that slammed into the ground like stakes. Each one glowed, each one hummed. Lyra ran beside him. "They've started the harvest," she said. Alex asked, "Of what?" Shh. Looked at him, sorrow in her voice. "Of mines." Across the town, people dropped to the ground, holding their heads, crying, screaming. Something was digging. Inside them, Alex's ears rang. He dropped to his knees, blood from his nose. The towers were not weapons. They were listeners tuning into human thoughts, pulling emotion like data. The Null weren't just invading, they were downloading humanity, inside the black ship above. The Null commander smiled, wires twitching. "The spark has awakened," he said. "Let him feel what his species truly is." A screen showed Earth, lighting up like a map. Pain, fear, rage. Joy, all emotions extracted in real time. One drone asked, "And if he resists?" The commander's eyes flickered. "Then we destroy the battery and move to the next world." On Earth, Alex stood, fists clenched, blood dripping. He looked at Lyra. "You said I had a choice?" "Yes," he pointed to the sky. "Then I choose to fight." She nodded, stepping forward. "Then we bond again, not to escape, but to win." Their hands touched. A pulse spread through the air, shaking the grass, cracking the ground beneath them. The war wasn't coming. It had already begun. The wind stopped. Not slowed, not faded. It stopped like the world had taken one last breath, forgot how to exhale. Ash floated through the air, soft as snow. It wasn't winter, wasn't even cold, but it felt like the end of time. Alex stood in the middle of the empty street, eyes closed, hands open. He couldn't hear the birds, couldn't hear the machines, couldn't even hear his own heartbeat. But he could feel every single person in town sleeping, screaming, broken, their minds pulled into the towers. They were still alive, but not awake. Lyra walked toward him, barefoot, glowing faintly in the morning haze. "This is what they do," she said. "They drain worlds in silence." Alex didn't turn, not this one. Far above them, the Null ship opened like a massive wound in the sky. Its black wings stretched from horizon to horizon, pulsing with stolen emotion. It was feeding, evolving, and preparing to erase what was left on board. The commander watched Alex through a flickering screen. "The spark survives," one drone said. "Let him," the commander replied. "It makes the end more complete." Back on Earth, Alex turned to Lyra. "I need to reach them." "You can't," she said. "Their minds are locked. Taken." Alex stepped forward. "No, I felt them. I still feel them. I just don't know how to speak loud enough." Lyra reached into her pocket, pulled out the last piece of her ship, a small shard of living crystal. She handed it to him. Then shout. Alex held the crystal, pressed it to his chest. A sharp heat passed through him, not pain, but pressure, like the earth itself had moved inside him. His eyes flared white. A pulse burst from his body, silent but wide. It swept through the town, through the towers, through the ground, and people began to stir. One by one, eyes opened, hands moved. The null towers flickered. The ship above shuddered. The commander leaned forward. What? Did he just do? Alex dropped to one knee? The crystal in his chest burned, but he was still breathing. They're awake, Lyra whispered. You woke them. Alex looked up. I didn't tell them to fight. I just reminded them they could. From windows and rooftops, people stepped out, confused, afraid, angry, but alive. The null responded. Dark drones fell from the sky like iron rain, screeching, spinning, ready to finish the job. Alex stood tall, and for the first time, he wasn't afraid. Together, he said. Lyra nodded. They touched hands in their bond, ignited like a star. Their feet left the ground. Their bodies shone with light and motion. Alex raised his arm. The first wave of drones shattered in midair. The second wave crashed into invisible walls. The third never made it past the light. The commander screamed, metal voice glitching, and slammed his fist into the console. End them now. The ship began to lower, weapons charging, sky turning red, but Earth had changed. All across the town, the people of Elwood stood, no longer afraid, not soldiers, just humans, throwing rocks, lighting fires, building barricades, fighting darkness. And for the first time in all the worlds, the null had attacked. They saw resistance from the entire species, not trained, not perfect, but free. Alex rose higher, hands stretched out like wings. Lyra floated beside him, her voice clear. Inside his mind, they're not fighting because of you. They're fighting because of who they are. Alex smiled. Exactly. The null ship fired. A single beam, massive, dark, final, fired from the heart of the sky toward the town. Alex raised both hands. The light around him was cracked, then exploded outward. The beam hit a wall of living energy, human will. Made visible, it didn't pass through. It bent. It split. It died. The null ship began to fall. The commander tried to escape, but something had followed him inside. A whisper. A thought. Alex's voice in his mind. This world is taken. The ship shattered in orbit, broken from the inside, down below. Alex and Lyra slowly touched back to the ground. The sky cleared, the towers faded, and the silence, finally, was peace. People gathered in the streets, bruised, dirty, crying, but smiling. Alex looked around, unsure of what to say. So Lyra said it for him. He didn't save the world. He reminded it what it could be.